Good morning, everybody.
Yeah, a good morning.
Man, yep. Yeah, it's tough.
It's like the old days.
That is, didn't we used to record even earlier than this?
We used to record at 4:30.
That's right. Yeah.
Because when you first wanted to start doing this, I was like, man, I don't know when we'll have time. Well, we'll just get up early. And I was like, well, I pretty much said, well, I'll have to record at like 4:30 so I can start doing my chores. But
I hope people understand the level of sacrifice on my part, because I like to rise. There is something that's nice about beating the sun up, but I don't do it very often because I am on the opposite end of the spectrum where generally I'm a night owl kind of guy, and so it was not quite as painful this morning when you said, because I texted Bobby Lee yesterday and I was like, man, I said we're just gonna have to record in the morning. And you said 5, and I was like, well, that's a little better than 4:30. But yeah, it's funny, I woke up on my own at like 4:30. Like I had an alarm set for about 4:40, and I just rolled over and woke up and was like, looked at my watch, said, oh, I guess I'll go ahead and get up.
But I probably get more sleep doing it this way because I got up at 4:30, and normally I get up at 5. But when we record at night, we always say like 8:30, and then it ends up, especially this time of year, because heck, it's not even dark yet.
Yep.
It ends up being closer to 9 before I can actually get here, and then depending on how long we go, I don't go to bed till like 11, and normally I go to bed at like 9:30. And so,
Did you go to bed 9:30 last night?
Well, I was trying, but of course we had ball like we do every Thursday right now. Got home and had a buddy that needed to bring some stuff over and drop it off, and he didn't get there till after 9, and then we stood around and talked for a little while, and then all of a sudden I was like, all right, I'm going inside and going to bed. So it was about 10 by the time I got to bed, but it wasn't terrible. So so what you sipping on?
Water. Good old H2O this morning. No, I guess I should have poured me some bourbon, just start off, just plow into this Friday.
Just hit it a lick, yeah.
Yeah. You got your coffee?
Yep. Just drinking a little, it's one of the Black Rifle varieties. Maybe the Berserker blend.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. I'm out of the loop on them.
Yeah. Well, and I kind of rotate between some of these smaller coffee companies, a lot of the ones we've highlighted at the end of the show. But, I'm sipping on one of theirs, just black coffee.
Yeah, that's what I like, man. I can't drink it this early. Back when we used to record some in the morning, I would get up. I mean, hell, I hadn't been up 20 minutes. We'd record, and I'd start drinking coffee, and I would be like almost unable to be like functioning well. My body would be so jittered and anxious.
I guess I'm just used to it because I get up and the first thing I do is drink a cup of water just because I'm a little bit parched from overnight, and then I drink coffee until probably 11.
Yeah, I kind of envy that. I've got a low tolerance to caffeine.
Especially when I'm at the vet clinic. If I'm out on the farm, like I'm cutting hay or something early in the morning, I've got a coffee, in the tractor with me. If I do something real strenuous, of course, I drink water. But I don't know. Some days I do wonder if maybe I don't drink too much. I stimulate myself too much, and then when I get done with the caffeine, then I go to nicotine for the next several hours.
Here, I'll lower
until it's appropriate to drink alcohol.
Yeah.
And I usually don't drink alcohol until I'm done seeing all my patients for the day.
Yeah, there might be some you wouldn't mind having a shot of alcohol before.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, there's definitely some, but.
Well, we need to, before we get in too deep, got to give a shout out to Agzaga. I don't know if the little Agzaga anniversary, is it done?
Yeah, Agzaga anniversary ended a week or so ago.
Okay.
So if you missed that sale, do not despair. Like always, everything's always 10% off when you use the discount code. Talk Dirt, all caps, all one word. A lot of hay still being baled. A lot of hay around here are going to be baled just these next few days. We've gotten into a dry spell.
God, man, I know.
It's a drought. I don't know if it's going to ever rain again.
Yeah.
After being so wet, we have hit a dry spell, and there really is a lot of hay on the ground. So I've already finished my first cutting, but I know our dads, they got a bunch of hay on the ground. They're going to be using some of the Ag-Zaga red, white, and blue bayonet wrap. You all can do the same. Order from them. Ships right to your door. Cheap, fast. You're not going to beat their prices. Then you get to show off that USA pride.
Yep.
Yeah, check them out.
Yep. So yeah, I am looking at it's. It is, dude. This is what's so frustrating with farming. I was talking to.
Oh yeah, it wouldn't quit raining, and now that it's quit,
it's like
just
quit.
It's like the good Lord said, "All right, y'all are complaining.
Yep.
You can have your way."
Yeah, today is the 14th. I will apologize because we have some of our guys that, like, typically when we record Thursday night, I set this to drop at 4:30 a.m. Friday morning, and we always have some 4:30 a.m. listeners, so they're probably like, "What? Where the crap is it right now?" So sorry, guys, but you're getting
it'll be up by probably like 6:30.
I was gonna say around 6:30. I'll try to have it up, but yeah, dude, I'm not showing. Today's the 14th. The 18th, there's a 40% chance of rain.
Was that Monday?
That's Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then there's no rain again until the 25th, and there's small chances, and it drives me nuts, man. That's what. Well, and I kept telling people I would rather mud a crop in, which is what we've essentially been doing, and but I also am like, I just hate to complain about rain. Because I know that we're going to be praying for rain here before long. And that is exactly, and I was talking to an older guy that used to farm yesterday. And I was actually turbo tilling a field yesterday because
it's still wet.
Yeah, I was planting one field that was really dry. Like I ran the turbo till yesterday morning. A field was really wet.
And you're doing that to air it out.
Yes. Yeah. Turbo till, for people who don't know, vertical tillage, it's not cutting. It cuts about 2 inches deep. You know, it's not going very deep. I mean, it might cut a little deeper than that, but it's not like a disking it up. It just kind of cuts the top layer a little bit, and it's got the wave discs on it, and it kind of chops it up in the front, chops it up in the back, and then it has roller baskets in the back that it's kind of like do-alling it down a little bit, and you just plant right behind it. But it was wet, but then, dude, literally right across the road where I moved to and started planting yesterday, it was dry as a popcorn fart. Like, it's crazy how I've got some fields. I left some farms and from Bolton and moved to Millington because the ones in Bolton were still wet.
Yeah.
So it's crazy how I've been having to move around, but you'll see some that are super dry. And, I mean, I'm putting them in the ground pretty good now because like the farm I was on yesterday that I was planting, man, you got to go kind of deep now just to find some moisture.
Yeah.
And it's getting, like, the temperatures, it looks, from what I had seen, temperatures were going to start getting higher. And that's what always really frustrates me. But I was talking to this older guy, and that's what he made the remark. I told him, I said, dang, we ain't got any rain in the forecast for a while. And he goes, yeah, man, he said, I farmed for years, and he said, I had a lot of conversations with the big man upstairs. He never quite would put it how I wanted it. Yeah. And I said, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I'm still planning on getting my hay ground fertilized tomorrow. Because at one time, there was like a 60% chance for like Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah.
And now I was just checking out before I came over here, and it's like, yeah, they've really backed off of that now. But yeah, with my situation, I don't have that many opportunities to, it's just with my work schedule. I'm like, no, I need to get it done.
Yeah, because you're going to do it yourself. Will you just get the buggy? Yeah,
and I had thought about, but man, Lord, I've got probably 40 acres of hay that I'll fertilize out of all the hay I have. I may try to get over a little more, but it's so many different, just like little tiny fields. Like one farm is 10 acres and it's 5 fields.
Dang, really?
And,
yeah.
And that's pretty typical. And so I'm like, man, I know they don't really probably want to mess with it, doing it like that. Not that they wouldn't be willing to, but yeah, if I just go get the buggy and put it on the tractor, I can.
Oh, they'd be willing because I got to get. They have to come back yesterday where I was. There's a spot that we added about 7 acres too. And I didn't think about it when I told them to fertilize it. And I got out there and was planting yesterday, and I could tell it's a spot we didn't. It's where a runway. A dude used to have an airplane runway that he would mow, and he sold his airplane, so he was like, just plant it all. And it added about 7 acres, but I could tell because used to he wanted us to avoid driving anywhere in the like runway, and so you'd go around it. Well, the guys at Helena, they knew, so they would always go around it. And I noticed that yesterday, and then I'm like, oh crap, I'm going to plant that. So I had to call a dude at Helena, and I was like, hey man, I hate to do this, but I got about 6 or 7 acres that I need fertilized. And he said, man, I actually thought about that spot. He said, I was wondering what the guy was going to do. And I said, yeah, he wants me to plant it. So they're coming back for about 6 acres.
Yeah.
Now, they'll hopefully be in the area, like over there, but yeah, he was like, man, it'll probably be a day or so. And I said, well, that's fine. I said, I hated to do it, but I need it fertilized.
Well, I'm just going to go ahead and do it, and just, I don't know, what do you figure you need about a 1/4 inch of rain to get that fertilizer?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, like some of that'll just, they've got it pretty good now where it'll kind of, I don't want to know if volatilize is the right word, but it'll kind of evaporate into the ground. I feel like pretty good now.
Yeah, they put that treatment on the fertilizer to keep it from just, totally leaching out. But yeah, I'm probably just going to go ahead and spread it, and that way, if we catch a random shower, I mean...
This is the thing, this time of year...
If you don't do it, and then you catch a random shower, you're like, God damn, I should have done it, and then, heck, I've got some hay, that first little bit that I cut, I mean, it should have been fertilized 2 or 3 weeks ago. And so, but the rain is just, we're always cussing it one way or the other.
It drives me crazy. I knew it would do this. It does this every year.
Oh, yeah. Well, and like the guy was saying, the good Lord never sends it just how you want it. Yeah, you almost, some of those rains all spring, you're like, all right, let's save this one for, just kind of put this one in our back pocket. And if you go out there and turn it on, all right, give me a 1/2 inch today.
Yep. Yeah, because, dude, we've had some soaking rains. That's why, like I said, that's why I have had some spots that have just stayed wet. But getting down to the last part is what's a pain, because today I've got 140 acres left. That's how much I got left to plant. And it's in 5 or 6 different fields.
Yeah.
And so there's 2 right beside each other, and then I guess I have 5 fields left, because I got 2 right here beside each other, 2 over here relatively close, and then 1 that I catch on the way home. And so 5 left, but it's, and one of them is a nightmare getting into. Like, it's got a small culvert. There's a telephone pole right across the road from it, so like I can't get over, and it's in a very blind curve. So it's literally like the worst.
The trifecta.
Yes, it's like the worst getting, and I guess it even is a quad. I don't even know what the quad would be, but on the other side of it, they've got white fence running down both sides. So like when I get across it, I can't like nose out this way. I have to just try to keep going straight, and my planter just absolutely barely gets in there. And that one, I've still got it left, and I always like kind of breathe a sigh of relief when that field is knocked out.
Yeah,
but I've got to plant it, and I don't know, man. It's I don't know that I'll get done today with as much moving as I got to do, but if I don't finish today, I'm going to say maybe I'll lack like 40 acres after today.
Okay. So you think if you could run solid all day without having to do a lot of moving, how many acres could you plant?
I can plant 150 or so.
That's right.
Pretty well.
We were talking about when we were talking about the high-speed plant and how many acres per hour you could plant.
Yep. So. Yeah, because our buddy Mr. Tim, he called me and was like, hey, man, you don't need to do math on the show. I said, why? And he goes, because, man, and then he gave me this formula for, like, how you figure it up. And he said, does that make sense? And I was like, yeah. And I'm like, Mr. Tim, sorry, I'm going to admit right now, I didn't know what the hell you were talking about. But you did explain, like, it would have been, like 47 acres an hour you could plant.
Okay.
46, 47, I think is what he said. And that's
with the high speed.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's balling, man. I mean, that is balling.
And how many can you do roughly an hour?
22.
22. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, without all the moving, you get done today easy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean.
That's a 7-hour day. Heck.
Yep. Oh, dude, we were talking about these.
Heck, man, you can be out there at like 7 a.m. this morning.
I know. Well, the Ronnie's place that I was planting there yesterday, dude, it's flat. It lays great. Yeah, you can plant a lot of ground pretty quickly when you have good running. And all of the fields that I have left are actually all really good laying. Some of them just, like his place was the last big place that I have, like decent size.
Patches.
Yeah. Yep. It's a lot of, I mean, I have 2 fields left. Well, there's one field left it's 15 acres. The other one's 20 acres. And then the other 3 are about 35 to 38 acres apiece.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just small.
Well, that's like fertilizer, which is not a big deal. But, the buggy that I always borrow from them, well, I'm sure you've used the same one.
Yeah, I used it like a week ago.
Yeah,
it's actually at my farm store.
Really, from Helena?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm probably going to text Michael here in a little while and say, hey, do you still need it?
No,
I'll save you a trip up there.
Well, I was going, he goes by there. And so sometimes, like, if I use it over there, he'll just pick it up and take it to work.
Okay, well,
so unless he's gotten it, then
if I still, well, we'll figure that out after the show. Yeah. I may take it up there for him, but you have to get off. It's like, I'll wear out the door of my tractor tomorrow.
Oh, do you shut it off?
Well, I'm going down the road,
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to waste fertilizer fertilize everybody's yard along the road bank.
I didn't think about that. Yeah. So you're having to get out. Yeah, because it's a manual shut off or turn on there.
Yeah, it's not, some of them are hydraulic, but that one's a loaner machine they loan out. They keep it as simple as possible. Less stuff for people like me to tear up. But I will get on and off a tractor. I don't know. I ought to make like a video on that. Like,
how many times you got to get on and off?
Yeah. For all the different fields. Because, I mean, every time I leave a field, go to the next one. Unless that's just immediately adjacent, I'm going to get off and, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I used it on my sweet corn like a week ago.
Well, that's what Dad has got. He planted his just basically food plot corn.
Yeah.
And I literally cut hay immediately next to it. And I told him, I was like, well, hey, normally he just goes, because he's got it's like 4 acres of corn. He'll buy a bunch of bags.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to be out there spreading some urea anyway. I'll just
make a sachet through there.
Drive out there through the cornfield. He's like, well, I might want you to put down more on that corn than on the. I was like, well, hell, I'll adjust it.
Yeah.
Or I don't really want to go over it twice. That corn will be coming up. But,
yeah.
But anyway.
Yep. Well,
that's fertilizing and praying for rain. 2 years ago I fertilized because literally there was just a little rain in the forecast, and it was eerily similar to right now. It was like June the 10th, and it did not rain again until like July the 25th.
Oh yeah, remember that? Yeah,
that was
because I had some beans that suffered.
I'm so glad I've spread all that all that money on fertilizer for it to just not rain for the next 6 weeks.
Yeah, I do remember that. Dang.
That's when we sold cows early that year because it just got so terribly dry. We're out of grass, and then it ended up raining all fall, and we actually had pretty good fall grazing. But yeah. So we got a couple of questions.
Yeah, we got 2 emails here. It's going to address. First one comes in, man, you're fighting a losing battle. Yeah. I don't even know why you aired up.
For those of y'all just listening, not watching on YouTube, my chair, it's got a slow leak, but it's a slow leak, and so.
Yeah, it'll start. You'll see Bobby Lee start going lower and lower.
All of a sudden, all you can see over the desk is just my head.
Well, that's why I've let this chair down so you don't feel as bad. So Troy writes in, thank the Lord you didn't go crazy about the killdozer, LOL. I just got done arguing with my duck hunting buddies about that guy. I was all into that guy standing up to the government until he offed himself. We disagreed on him when I said he took the easy way out. And I would agree with that.
Yeah.
And anyway, also, I'm pretty sure you can get involved with vets through Veteran Affairs. I always get emails about veteran programs, startup farming. Also, I was always against corporate farming till my one buddy back home started corporate chicken farming, buying up some extra land. A lot of our farms back in Perry County, PA have went corporate, and I look at it like at least the land's still farmland, not housing developments. Anyways, as always, great show, fellas. Keep it up, Troy. Troy, we appreciate you writing in, man. For anybody listening, you can go to talkdirtpodcast.com, go to our contact page, send in your messages there. That's the best spot for us to keep up with them and answer them. So, Troy, we appreciate it, you writing in. Yeah, on the killdozer thing, I agree. Him killing himself kind of, like, it's like, I mean, would the dude have gone to prison? Yeah. But it like kind of, it does a little bit kind of hurt us. Like, I feel like it'd have been more impactful if he had gotten out and, I mean, heck, he could have been like the Tiger King and been like tweeting and calling from prison and kind of really pump folks up.
You know, and of course I'm not very good at predicting like how it would have played out if he had surrendered at the end. I don't know. He may not have been as much of a hero. I know I kind of compared him to George Floyd in that, you know, the way they've really been kind of, you know, I don't know what's the right word, just, you know, made these huge figures for this cause after their death, and like George Floyd definitely doesn't accomplish any of that if he doesn't die.
Yeah.
I don't know, Marvin, because that was still a pretty big deal, like what he did. if he just at the end of it opens the hatch, he just comes out with the arms raised and goes to prison. That's probably still a pretty damn big story.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But, yeah, I just hate that when we were out there 2 years ago that we didn't
go visit there.
I didn't realize how close we were. I was like, oh, man, we were right there. But I bet, because, of course, I think most of the people in the town didn't really like him.
Yeah.
Know, I mean, definitely the business owners and the ones that were
after that, probably
the city
not.
council that he had a major beef with. But I was like, I bet they get pretty damn annoyed when people like,
hey, it's the killdozer,
yeah. But because I think they destroyed it, didn't they?
Oh, I don't know.
Like they could have totally turned that into like a
town icon. Parked like it up at the city hall.
Yeah, but I don't know that. Again, that would have been bringing in visitors that pretty much hated all the people that ran the town. Because, yeah. So anyway, probably best for their sake they went ahead and got rid of it.
Yeah. And I'll look into the veteran stuff more. Like I said, that's an idea I kick around. Check that out more. And on the thing you talking about your buddy doing the corporate chicken farming, I mean, yeah, dude, that's like I said last week. I can honestly just say if I was approached with a large chunk of ground to farm, hell, I'd go for it. Yeah. So I can't. It's hard for me to like hate on them. I mean, I was having this conversation yesterday with a guy that helps us. We were riding. He had to give me a ride, and we were riding to the tractor, and somehow that kind of conversation came up. And I said, you know, man, I can't really hate on them anymore. I said, do I acknowledge that they make things harder? I do. Like, I mean, because when you have one operation working like 60 to 70% of the available acreage, I feel like, then yes, it makes things difficult. But it's kind of like with any business, you know, really, if you get in, and I mean, I would say this, like, I'm not going to, and I think I've mentioned this, but I'm not going to cross my friends. Like, you know, there is a list. I don't have like a physical list, but I have a list of farmers that are like my good friends. If I find out that they're working a farm, I'm not interested in it. Like, I'm just not, you know, I'm not so, there are people we've mentioned that it's business 100%. They don't care. It could be their best friend working it, and they're like, well, it's just business, it ain't personal. I can't go that far. But if it's somebody that I'm not like tight with, then I don't mind inquiring about the farm. Now, the way I would go about it, I have literally never contacted anyone and said, hey, I'll pay more rent than your current farmer. If it's a farm I'm interested in and it's not like one of my close friends in the farming world, then I'll just say, if you ever decide to change, I'd love an opportunity to work the place, maybe kind of talk to them like that. And I don't really have a problem with that.
Well, and too, on the corporate, you know, that word, there's a difference. Like, there are families that farm, you know, and they may be a big farming family. Maybe it's a situation where they've got, you know, a bunch of siblings that farm together. But it's still like they've got corporate in the name or whatever, or they're an LLC or whatever. But that's different than like some big corporation now owns their farm.
Like Walmart.
Right, and they just work for the corporation. That's why, of course, I relate a lot of it back to the veterinary world too, because that being my primary job, you know, corporations are coming in buying clinics all the time. Like, we get stuff, like if a week goes by that we don't get some kind of a, you know, marketing, you know, flyer or email or something about, hey, we'd love to come by your practice, it's a miracle. Like, it's just nonstop. They're trying to buy everything out.
Yeah.
And I am very much against that. Like, then I would sell my business and then I would work for them.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, you know, they're paying me to work for them after they've bought the business from me. And so, yeah, I mean, there's a reason why a lot of people do it. And, you know, they take away all the headaches of all the HR stuff and dealing with things. You know, you just like to say, look, I'm just a vet now. I'm not the owner. But, yeah, it's not a situation where you're farming like it. Yeah, like you said, Walmart now owns your operation, tells you what to do. You know, you still get to make some decisions, that sort of thing. But yeah, like in the chicken and pork world, pretty much everybody.
Yeah, you almost have to be.
You're a contract grower for a big corporate group. You know, I think typically you own the property, you own the barns. They provide, and I'm not an expert. If we were going to go this deep into it, we should.
Well,
probably have somebody like Aaron back on and talk about the hogs. But
they
pretty much provide you the animals. They may even provide you the feed. You provide, you know, the labor, the buildings, the electricity, that sort of stuff. And then, you know, you get paid based on, you know, the pounds of animals you have back, you know, for them to come pick up when it's time for them to go to slaughter. I actually was listening to a podcast, I guess it was Sharky. Yeah, it was turkeys, which means turkeys, chicken, it's all the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that can be a good way for people to get in and get started, because you can, you know, maybe some of these corporations may even help you finance like some of these buildings.
We got a guy that's going to be coming on. I don't remember if we've ironed down. It still might be a little while, but he's a younger guy, but he's got a pretty huge chicken contract.
Yeah.
And he had messaged me, and he was giving me all, and he was opening up a lot of details, but he said it's allowed him to like be able to be a young farmer because of these contracts.
Well, Aaron talked about that.
Yep.
Was Aaron our first ever guest?
He was.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to go way back. I don't know what episode that was.
Yeah, that would be way back there. We need to have Aaron on again.
Yeah, he would be another good one. He's up in Iowa. But they built, basically what allowed him and his wife to kind of go back to the farm was, hell, I need to go back and listen to it.
The hogs.
Yeah, that they built a hog barn, and that kind of what got their foot in the door and got them started. But,
yeah. Well,
and then, yeah, the great thing about that, which everybody will tell you, whether it's hogs or turkeys or chicken, is then you got the fertilizer.
Yes. And I think a dude was telling me after like they pay, I mean, this dude's getting a pretty big paycheck from them. Now, he has a lot of chickens that he's doing, but, you know, after 10 years or something, I mean, you own everything. Like, you know, you put up the buildings and they'll finance them and all this, but I mean, you own it. And,
I guess what would worry me a little bit there, you know, what if they just all of a sudden decide, all right, yeah, but we're not going to do business with you anymore. I mean, then you got these buildings that you're like, well, what the hell am I going to do with however many square foot?
50,000 square foot chicken house.
I bet they're bigger than that. Yeah, whatever. It's like, yeah, I own it free and clear now, but like, this is kind of awkward.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's other companies out there, and surely, you know, it's probably a pretty low risk that all of a sudden chickens just
you did see
totally leave the market.
It was just recently you saw where some of it might have been Tyson or somebody
they were closing some plants.
Yeah.
I don't know if that'd be interesting. I wonder if there's people out there that have had that happen where now they have barns that are useless, whether it's hogs, chickens, turkeys, whatever, where the corporate groups just said, yeah, we're not interested in growing hogs in this area anymore because we're closing our plants that are nearby.
Yeah,
something like that. I don't know.
It's
think about.
It is, and that's and and actually that makes me think of something else. I guess before I dive into that, Troy, appreciate you writing in, man. Feel free to write in anytime, any questions you got, and what I was thinking about, this John Deere, they still have not announced who the chief tractor officer is going to be.
Oh wow!
But what's kind of funny, or not, well, it's not funny, it sucks for the employees. Deere has been like laying people off pretty hard. You seen that? Yeah,
I have not.
They've been having quite a few layoffs at different
here in the U.S.
Yeah, at different plants and things like that, and so now I see it has now made it to their social media because the chief tractor officer. And I mean, this is all stuff you could look up on their website. I mean, the pay is like $200,000. It was like $195,000 over a year. And I mean, that's a pretty deadgum nice paycheck. Well, people were commenting and they were like, oh, because they put up a thing the other day and it said,
yeah, it's bad PR.
Yeah, they were like, in just a few days, our CTO will be announced. And I did submit, but I don't have much expectations. But people are commenting. They're like, "Oh, gonna hire a social media like an influencer, but you're laying off like hundreds of hard work." And it couldn't come at a worse time. I feel like.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, what did you say, $195,000?
Yeah,
that wouldn't pay the salaries of it. Just I don't know what
like
those guys. Two, maybe three, those employees, maybe four, I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's not, but it's a bad look. It's like, yeah, we laid off 250 workers at, or however many, and now we're going to hire, then their next, PR release is,
hired this influencer.
We hired this goofy little kid, wherever to be our chief tractor officer. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, that's what it is. It's like, ooh, this just isn't looking good. But
they may need to let that blow over for a couple of months before they announce their CTO.
Well, see, and it's been weird because it's been over a month ago, I guess. Like it's taken them a while, and you'll see, like I had seen occasionally leading up to, people would comment and be like, "Are y'all ever going to announce the CTO?" Which I've got some gripes about it because I'm just curious to see who gets it. Like I said, I'm not going to be mad if I don't get it because I never go into it as like, that's a long shot. But if one of these nerds gets it that had John Deere in their name, that's just going to piss me off. Because like, there's a couple people that are like obsessed about it. Like there's this chick, I won't say her name in case she just so happens to be a listener of the show, but her name does have John Deere in it. One of the dudes, his name has John Deere in it. You go to their page, I bet they probably have John Deere sheets on their bed.
Well, and see, that's kind of dangerous to me to be that invested. I guess there's kind of their social media identity in one brand because you know how it is nowadays. You'll wake up and that company will be supporting.
Yeah.
They'll have that pride emblem going.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to make it through a whole episode without even mentioning pride. But I can't believe how many companies, like I see stuff and I'm just like, all right, I'm making an internal little Rolodex in my head. Like, I will try not to do business with your company if I have an alternative.
Yes.
But anyway.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I've said. I wish John Deere would come out and be like,
I always get a kick out of people that get a tattoo with like a brand.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
dude,
really? Because like I can't tell you how many brands that like I was a huge fan of at one time, and then they do something just totally asinine.
Growing up, I was when I was a teenager, going into my late teens there, I had a membership to the NRA.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm pretty leery of the NRA at this point just because they were spending a fortune. Wayne LaPierre's salary was like astronomical, But then I was getting a phone call like every day about them desperately needing donations. And I'm like, well, quit paying Wayne LaPierre $750,000 a year. Give him like a nice normal paycheck, and then maybe you'd have a little bit. But they kind of got soft to me on some things. Like, I think it might have been the bump stock. You know, the NRA caved like pretty hard on that, and there were several things where I just was like, these guys ain't fighting for gun rights hardly. Yeah. I mean, and they're still the largest like gun rights lobbying group, but I'm glad I don't have like a NRA tattoo on my arm.
Yeah, I'm a life member, but yeah, it's one of those things like, yeah, you know, how many of these companies like just totally do something just asinine?
How many people have a Budweiser or something tattoo on them, and then the Bud, like the whole the gay tranny thing, like,
yeah, that wasn't even gay, it was the tranny.
Yeah, you know, like some of them people were like, oh, you know, they made sure their sleeve covered their Budweiser emblem.
Yeah, but
yeah, anyway, that is pretty funny.
Anyway, yeah,
if you had to get a brand,
any one brand,
you got to get a brand tattoo. What are you getting?
Like an actual like manufacturer of something.
Yeah.
Like what brand am I most? Man, I don't know, because every one of them, I'm like, yeah, 10 years from now, that company may be.
But like Samuel L. Jackson from Pulp Fiction has come in. He's got a gun to your head, and he's like, right now, tattoo of a brand. What's it gonna be?
I don't know.
He's gonna say, English, mother. Do you speak it?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, because part of me, as I'm looking at your beef sign over there, like the beef, it's what's for dinner, like something like that. Can I go that corny? But I'm like, but now.
But then you're supporting NCBA.
That's the beef checkoff. Yeah, which the beef checkoff is a broken ass system, and yeah, I'm the biggest, you know, cheerleader for beef ever. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if I'm up, I'll put it like on my ass, so it won't matter. Nobody but my wife will ever see it anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't know.
I'd have to go with.
I was just saying, like I like none of these. Like,
I'm gonna go if somebody put a gun to my head and said that I'm just gonna take a safe. I feel like this is a safe bet. I'm gonna get a Bravo company tattoo on my butt cheek. You know, the BCM 8, they make AR-15s. I think I may have even highlighted them.
I kind of was leaning that. I was like, yeah, you go with like a firearm manufacturer, because like surely they won't ever cave.
I was gonna say they seem pretty safe,
but it just depends. Like nothing would shock me at this point.
Well, I wouldn't go with, and I mean, I have quite a few Rugers. My main deer rifle's a Ruger. I love Ruger. But like, I'd almost be a little scared to go with one of the big names, because if any of them are in danger of like Winchester, Remington, Ruger, and I mean, I'm not hating on them at all. Like, I have quite a few of all these guns, and I love the companies. But I'm just saying, you know, like your Bravo company, I mean, they're a big company, but they're more, I feel like, a little more hardcore. And and I can't say Daniel Defense, because they've been a little soft on some stuff, which they've took a lot of heat, I will say.
Well, hell, I'll do this. I'll just put Hurricane Creek Farms. That's a brand, isn't it?
That is. It's kind of cheating, but
we're not going woke, I promise you. Talk dirt to me.
There you go. You can put it on there, yeah. I have always wanted to get a tattoo on my ass. I've always thought about that.
Yeah, you know, tattoo's just something. I'm not anti-tattoo, but I'm just like, I've never been that just convicted that, like, I want to put this on my body forever. So
I can't think of what I'd want. If I would like to have a sleeve, but I'm like, I don't know what I'd want.
Oh yeah, well done tattoos. I look at them like, man, that's badass.
Yeah.
But I've just never been like, yeah, it's badass to look at. Like,
yeah.
Maybe not look at every day.
Hey, I got an update on the police thing from last week. I can't believe I was about to forget about this. When you were talking about the badass thing, I was thinking of
I think I do know. I was
thinking of outlaw, and I'm like, oh yeah. So for guys, you need to go back and listen to last week. I got pulled over, and I give that whole story. I'm not going to rehash it all right here, but go and listen to last week's if you hadn't. Catch up. But in the state of Tennessee, farmers are exempt from having safety chains.
And I was not at all shocked to hear that.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of ag exemptions for certain laws. And I'm not saying, I think we would both agree, like, safety chains are a good thing. Like,
Well, and that's what it said. Like, if you look up the law on it, and I wish, while I was sitting there for an hour, I wish I'd have Googled it, but because as soon as you Google it, it pulls up like the Tennessee law, and it says farmers are exempt from the requirements of safety chains on ag equipment, but it says it is recommended. So, I mean, like, obviously, if the chains are on there, I'm going to hook them up.
Well, and that's, because if nothing else, it's what are you going to do with them if you don't hook them up? You know?
Yeah.
But, I was unhooking my baler yesterday, and as I was taking the safety chain off, I can't help but think about it. But, a lot of, especially older equipment, like, it never had safety chains.
Yeah.
There's some equipment that it might have had them at one time, but they are long gone. And I mean, I just think about, like, some of the old, like, tillage equipment and stuff we used. I'm like, what? Like,
well, and you think of them, like, them old tractors, they were doing, the top speed would have been 20, and that was going fast.
Oh, yeah. No,
so, like, if it fell off the back of it.
That old 4030 I sold last year, it would do, like, it might have done 18. Like, Like, it was one thing when I got rid of it, I was like, wow, like, this is a time saver just for me moving from all these fields to the next one. Like, it took forever to drive that thing to a couple of the places where we would have some hay. Yeah.
Well, that's saying, like, so you were never moving really fast enough. Like, that seed tender that I pull, I don't pull it over about, honestly, I pull it about 35 miles an hour. That's like, and that's fast as I ever pull the thing. So, but like now, I mean, I'll be honest, I'm like, I'm glad this blankety thing ain't got safety chains on it. I'm not going to hook them up. Like, now I'm almost like I'm like a man scorned now. Like, I'm like, I don't even want to use any safety chains anymore. Like, he's created a villain.
Right. Well, so I was not terribly shocked to hear that now there actually is an ag exemption there. Yeah.
Now, obviously, like I said, it's recommended. It's just not legally required. And check your state laws. Honestly, this is a good point. Like, check your state laws about things that you got going on the farm, because the cops, some of them don't know. Because this dude, he apparently didn't know. And that's why he wasn't being a nice guy letting me off with a warning. He just wouldn't admit that he...
Well, he probably still didn't know. He probably still doesn't know.
Yeah.
It was probably one of those things, if you had tried to fight it in court, that's when... Which then that would have been stupid, because by the time you had a lawyer or whatever...
I'd have been out of pocket.
Like, this isn't even a law. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where our justice system sometimes sucks, because... Like, it's, even though they were totally in the wrong, for you to prove it would end up costing you more than the ticket itself would have cost.
Yeah.
Which we will point out, he didn't get a ticket anyway. So
no. And
at least he was that friendly.
And the cop I talked to another cop, and, because I feel like we might have got a little hot on the cops last week. And so I cut them some slack this week, because I talked to one of my buddies that's a cop, and I was telling him about it. And he was like, man, our guys don't mess with farmers. Like, he's like, we just don't mess with farmers. Y'all got enough going on already. And I said, well, apparently one of them does. And so he's like, man, dang it, and he even admitted too, he was like, look, he said, the safety chain thing, he said, that's just petty. He said, look, if you got chains, hook them up. But he said, I'm not going to write you a ticket. He said, that's petty.
Well, and I don't know, I've never been a cop, don't ever plan on being one, but I would feel like the kind of relationship, especially within a department, it's kind of like a locker room, or I at least envision it this way, of a sports team, where they kind of have a code they expect. Like, none of you, I don't want any of you other assholes out here giving us all a bad name.
Yeah.
And obviously that's been like magnified on a national level over the last few years. Like, a couple of bad cops somewhere choke a guy to death, and it makes all the cops look bad. But yeah, it's like, all right, let's go out, let's protect and serve. Like, let's not be doing dickhead traffic stops where the whole damn town's going to lump us all in together and hate us because 3 or 4 of y'all are writing a bunch of seatbelt tickets and stopping people for going 4 over the speed limit. Like, no, let's get a reputation of we're here to keep people safe.
Yeah, there's the little towns you go through.
Make this a nice place to live.
Yeah.
We don't want to be known as we're the speed trap on the side.
The Barney Fife, or old Barney Fife is there. So,
yeah. So I feel like, and of course, it's not like a total locker room where they're going to beat the shit out of, what I'm, after work, but especially nowadays. But where there's kind of an unwritten code amongst them, we're like, yeah, we're going to do things the right way. We're not going to be petty and give our whole department a bad name.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's y'all's update on that. All right. We got one more write-in here from Blake. Blake has wrote in. I think he's wrote in before. I know he's been following a while because I recognize the name. He says, "Hey guys, love the show. It makes Fridays even better. Do you think it would be possible to get an FSA agent on the podcast to go into depth about beginning farm loans through the USDA, or do a full podcast episode covering it? Thanks. Keep up the good work. MAGA." All right. Appreciate you writing in, Blake. So the first, we could do basically a full episode covering the FSA loans because we've both used them. But as far as getting the agent on, I don't know, because our
current one, I'm not.
He's not
a nice guy. I've got a good relationship with him, but he's not just the most
outgoing. I don't think he.
I don't know. I mean, all we could do is ask.
I don't think it'd be real captivating.
Right. Now we've had. Well, of course, we discussed some of our past ones. One of them, unfortunately, has passed away.
He would have been good.
Oh, he'd have been fantastic. He was a good family friend, too.
Yep.
I would say he would have been more than willing to do it. We got another one that was formerly in that role that he may be pretty good.
He could be. Well, and actually, we've talked about having him on anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to reach back out to him.
He now kind of works for one of their competitors.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if the government really considers them competitors, but yeah.
I don't think the government cares.
Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, but I don't know, like his current employer, they may not want him to talk too much about those other programs.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, off the record, I mean, he's a very good guy. He would be willing to help you on anything, but yeah. If not, he'd be a good guest either way.
We need to have him on.
FSA or other segments of ag lending, but
that man, the guy that, like I say, I won't mention his name, but that passed away, he would have been a good one because he could have been funny by the end, because when I'd go in there, he'd be like, "This freaking paperwork," he was so tired of working for FSA. And he did end up leaving FSA, but he always would trip me out. He'd be like, "Man, they got so much stupid paperwork for everything." Like, as annoyed as we get with the paperwork, he was beyond annoyed with the paperwork. So, I mean, which I would mess with him. I'd be like, "Dude, I bet you're filling out forms in your sleep." And he says, "Yeah, it's terrible." So, I don't know, man. That's kind of tricky, because I tell you, the not in our local county, but one that I have had to interact with outside of our local county, which he actually may be part of NRCS. That dude is an absolute, he's a douche. He's a douche wiener. That's the best way to put it. And I would not want him on the show, and because he caused a lot of problems, almost caused, when I bought a farm in an adjoining county. I'm trying to keep this somewhat vague, but when I bought a farm that I have in a county that joins where we're at here, it needed to be cleared. I had already talked to him beforehand, made sure if I purchased this farm, I'd be able to move in, clear it, put it back to agriculture. It used to be farmed, and I bought the farm. We get out there and we start clearing. We've cleared about 5 acres. My dad was like, "Hey, I would just check one more time with old so-and-so over there, make sure that you're good." So I said, "All right." So I just called him or emailed him or something and was like, "Hey, just letting you know, we've started out here. We'll be, moving in we got Traco and Dozer going." And he wrote me back and was like, "That's not going to work." He said, "You can't use that. That's construction equipment. That's not ag. We're going to have to file a so-and-so form. You're going to have to stop clearing." He said, "Ah, man, you probably won't be able to clear that place." And at this point, I had done closed and purchased it. And so I mean, I wrote him back and I was like, it's too late. I've got the farm now. Like, I have to clear it because it needs to pay. Like, I need it to generate some income. And he was like, no, you're going to stop. So actually, one of our local guys at FSA ended up helping me. He started helping me, and he went back and he dug through all the records, and he found out that it had been farmed. There was some date that if it was farmed by this said date, then it was meet the criteria to be put back into ag, and it did. So we had to go around, because if dude had filed this form that he was going to file, it would have like changed everything about this farm. I probably wouldn't have been able to clear it, and I mean, who knows? They may have even classified it as like freaking wetlands or something. Like,
man,
it would have been a disaster. So
we could talk for days about all. I mean, I saw another article not too long ago about where a guy, I think it was in Iowa, was fighting because they're trying to tell him that something they can't farm it, and he's like, what? Like, yeah, it is amazing that you can own a piece of property and then the government can come in there and tell you, like, no, you can't do that with that property. And I understand, like, there's going to be extreme examples where you're doing something just totally out there and destructive to it, it's going to impact, that land for generations to come. That's one thing, but then they're just going to be like you're doing, air quotes, normal agricultural practices, and they're going to be like, no, you can't do that way. We're the government. We know better than you. You can't do that. Like, yeah. Like that just, that really sits wrong with me.
Well, that's how I am with, like, I've done some turbo tilling this year, but like, I'm a minimal tillage guy. Last year I did zero tillage. And so, but I also believe, sometimes there is just, you need to do some certain tillage. Maybe you rutted it up in the fall, put in some structure works, you had some washes, so you need to work them in. Like, there's just times when you got to do some little tillage. And some of these farms, like I've got a couple of farms, they're considered HEL, which is highly erodible land, or it's highly erodible. I don't remember for sure what the L stands for. But if it's in that classification, they basically say you can never do tillage of any kind. And I have a farm that's, like I said, I got a couple in there. And see, that freaking farm in Bolton, it is, like, if you went out there and looked at it, what's cleared is just, it looks very flat. Like, you can see all the way across this farm. But the guy that was helping me out, he said, man, if they filed this form, they will reclassify that as HEL. And I said, how? I was like, it's freaking flat. Like, I was like, you can see, like, straight across. Like, how is this? And he said, there is just enough of a grade to it that he said, I guarantee you they would reclassify it. He said, you would never be able to, like, till this thing, like, and all this. And that's what does irk me. Because it's like, look, yeah, if I buy the farm, if I want to put a freaking breaking plow on the back of my tractor and go old school and run breaking plows, and heck, I ought to be able to do it. Like, but yeah, the government they can have a say so.
Well, I mean, and nothing worse for the ground that you could do than to pour a bunch of concrete and put houses all over it.
Yeah.
Then that's never going back to agriculture. It's never, I mean, that's there's no carbon capture going on out there with, whether it's woodlands or grass or crops, but yet, and I'm not in favor of the government saying you can't buy that property and develop it, but like, they don't ever do that.
Yeah.
At least not around here, but like, they'll say, yeah, you can't take that farm that was in timber and put it into production ag. Like, what?
If you'll shell out the cash to get it converted back to ag, then you ought to be able to put it back in ag. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
Or if it's never been in ag and you're going to clear it and put it in ag, you ought to be able to do so.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way I feel about it.
Well, there was one story I wanted to hit on because I just saw it this week. Did you see the deal where Joey Chestnut's not going to be allowed in the hot dog eating contest this year?
No, why?
And he is a bit of a turncoat. Like I don't know that I can support him. He is now sponsored by Impossible Foods.
Oh, what?
Yes.
The freaking hot dog guy.
He's won it 16 of the last 17 years. He is now, and they have a rule where you can't be sponsored by one of their rival brands, which I understand.
Because it's Nathan's that sponsors it.
Yeah, Nathan's, which is actually owned by Smithfield, which is Chinese, which I'm like, Oh,
man, dang, that sucks.
But, and at first I didn't know. I was like, well, so is he going to want to, like, eat the Impossible dogs rather than Nathan's? Like, no. Like, in his defense, he was going to show up and still do the contest exactly right. I mean, I don't know if he was, obviously they wouldn't let him wear any, he was going to have to be wearing the Nathan's shirt or whatever. Nathan's, the whole hot dog event is just a big marketing thing by them. But I think they have a clause, like in their contract, you can have other sponsors. Like, I think he's been sponsored by Pepto-Bismol, which that's a great one.
If I eat, like, what, 50, 60?
76, I think, is maybe the most he's ever
eaten. If I eat,
in 10
like...
minutes. For those people have no idea, it's 4th of July. I believe it's in New York City. Nathan's world famous hot dog eating contest. They have 10 minutes, and they eat like, it ain't like you're eating 20 hot dogs. Like, no, like 76, I think, in 10 minutes.
If I eat like 3 hot dogs, I'm gonna get indigestion. So yeah, I can only imagine.
Well, it's made a lot of waves because he's literally the only like professional eater or whatever you want to call him that anybody can even name. Like, he's the only one that I would.
He's the only one I know of.
Well, the only other one I can even name is the Kobayashi, who was like, he was the dominant one before Joey Chestnut beat him in like 2006 or whatever.
I only know that name because in is it Step Brothers or whatever Hangover when he's like Kobayashi.
I don't even remember that scene, but yeah, pretty much Kobayashi dominated it until Joey Chestnut beat him, which was cool because it was like, oh yeah, USA.
Yeah, and now he's got to ruin it.
And apparently he lost 1 year, but then he signed. I think they said last year Nathan's paid him $200,000 to be in the contest. Because obviously he's a big draw. He's the only one anybody knows. But he signed a 4-year, $1.2 million deal with Impossible Foods.
Soul to soul.
They're like, that's $300,000 a year versus $200,000, which that's obviously a significant difference. But it wasn't like Nathan's was paying him pennies. Yeah.
Can't believe that. So is he a vegan now?
Actually, it said he is not a vegan. He's just promoting their brand as like, you don't have to always eat it or whatever. I don't know. But
sounds like the stupidest deal I've ever heard.
Well, it kind of reminded me, guys, like some professional athletes, like say for instance, the NBA is sponsored by Gatorade. Like Gatorade's the official sports drink of the NBA. But then you got a guy who's got a Powerade, endorsement deal. It's weird because like they'll be on the bench and they won't be drinking the Gatorade cups because they're sponsored by Powerade. They'll have to be drinking just a plain water, basically.
Really?
And it's kind of like, now they're still allowed to play, of course, but part of me, I don't know. I could kind of see both sides because everybody wants to see Joey Chestnut in the contest because he's like literally these other people, we have no idea who they are. Like, you're gonna watch it and just not even know who to root for. But it's their contest. They're and like he is representing an immediate competitor, and so
a terrible Impossible dogs or Impossible meats.
It's like, man, like, dude, what are you doing? Like, and you can't even pretend that shit's healthy. Like, no, and not that anybody's gonna argue a hot dog's the healthiest thing ever either. But if you told me that I could, eat only hot dogs the rest of my life or eat only vegan hot dogs, like, I'm 100% convinced you're going to be in much better health eating the actual meat than all that super processed, salty crap. Anyway, it's basically dog food. They've proven it's just flavored dog food. Yeah. Dog food that they've kind of spiced it up a little bit.
Yeah. I know a farmer, an older farmer one time ate one of the Impossible Whoppers, like just out of curiosity. And he told Dad, because I guess he was telling Dad about it. He was like, I tried one. And he said it actually tasted like a Whopper for the most part. But he said I burped it all day long. He said I just constantly would be burping the taste up. He said, I will never eat another one. But it just, Nah, it don't appeal to me at all.
Yeah, indigestion. Which I mean, again, like the actual ingredients in a regular hamburger, it's beef. And then like whatever, salt and pepper, seasoned salt, whatever you want to put in there to and on those, I mean, hell, it's like reading the back of a bag of dog food. I mean, like, it's like, my God, what are all these chemicals? But anyway, so yeah, if you're going to be watching the contest this year, it looks like it will not have Joey Chestnut in it. They're still like trying to hope for some sort of resolution, but yeah, I don't know if I'm Nathan's, I'm going to stand strong. Like,
I would too. Yeah.
Like, no, like you
sold your soul.
Yeah. And it's, again, it's not like it, I mean, it would have been bad enough if it was like Oscar Mayer that was sponsoring him, which that would have still been hell. That
been better than.
Well, it might have been better. It might have been worse because like they probably look at the Impossible Dog and they're like, yeah, that's not a competitor.
Yeah, well, that's true. That is true. Yeah, most people are not rushing out to buy Impossible Dogs. All right. Well, I'll let you tee up our main. I got the company tonight or today, not tonight.
Tonight, whatever. Yeah. Damn, I gotta go. Yeah, I'm gonna go check cows when I get done here, and then to the grind of daily job. I don't get to go home and go to bed. All right, where is he?
Let me start off with 2 words. Made in America.
All right. So I should have brought it out here with me, but I had won a knife in a giveaway. And, we've done several knives. And this knife is pretty freaking awesome. I wish I had brought it out here because it's you can tell it's a forged blade, but the dude had like sharpened it perfect. It's Vasquez knives. It's Vasquez knives. Now, I don't know. I'm really not even sure if he's got a website, but he's on Instagram. Because I looked him up on here, and it says, I'm a sinner saved by grace, Texan gun advocate, and fixed blade knife maker. DM for info and prices. So, I mean, I already like pretty much every bit of his bio here. But he's got some of his knives there on Instagram. I mean, they're really good-looking knives. My buddy Brandon Lilly was one that he had actually told me about them a while back. He's been carrying one of his knives for a long time. And it is an awesome feeling knife. Like I said, I just won it last week or something.
Okay, and you may have shared something because
I did.
I saw him, and then I'm actually already following him. Yeah, they do look pretty awesome.
Yeah, and they feel really good. Like they're a solid knife. So, like I said, Vasquez. I don't know if it's Vasquez. How do you say that?
I'd say Vasquez.
Vasquez knives. Vasquez knives. I was going to make sure.
So can you order them, or do you need to just message him?
That's what I was looking. It almost looks like on his Instagram that you almost have to message him. Let me see if there's a website.
Truly custom made.
No, I think you probably have to get on social media, it looks like. And I think he's on Facebook as well. But it is like I said, it's a very solid knife. Okay, he is on Facebook as well. And he does have his Instagram. He's got an email. It's vasquezknives@yahoo.com. And I would encourage you guys, if you want a really nice blade, I mean, it's a little late now for Father's Day, but, if you wanted a really sweet blade for something like that, they're solid. They're awesome knives. So I'm a big fan of my weapon companies, and that dude's done a jam up job.
I mean, a knife's a weapon. A knife's just a tool too. So
that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. All right, guys. I'm
out of coffee.
Yeah,
we got to stop.
The giveaway. I'm gonna open it Monday, so that gives guys time to kind of listen to the episode, get geared up.
TalkDirtPodcast.com.
Yep. And it's going to be, if I set it up right, it'll be just like the last time. You go to our homepage, it'll be right there on the homepage, and it's going to run for a month. I'm going to let it go for 4 weeks. That gives people plenty of time to catch up because we got some people that are kind of slow. They're kind of catching up. So when they get caught up, hopefully they still got time. Have 4 weeks to enter. There's going to be ways to gain multiple entries, and we're going to kind of let you guys pick. We're going to put together some cool prizes, but
put together a prize pack, and then
if you want to come here, you can.
If you want to also come and join us in studio for a guest episode, more than welcome.
Yep. And they need to check out Ag Zaga.
Yeah,
Bobby's got his with some spider webs on it.
Yeah. And like I say, well, Jared told us, he's like, hey, y'all wear these hats. Like, don't just wear them on the show. Like, get out there and work, and I'm sweating them. We already mentioned the Bailnet wrap. That's their bread and butter. You know about that. You're not going to beat their prices, the shipping. But yeah, check out the other stuff. Flexzilla garden hoses, those commodity jugs, all the other good stuff. Maybe you want some of the goofy looking cinch underwear. With the big python right over your crotch.
Yeah, right over your python.
Yeah. You got a snake in your pants. But anyway, yeah, check them out. Discount code Talk Dirt, all caps, all one word. Get your 10% off. Do it.
Do it. Guys, leave us a rating and a review. Enter that giveaway. Like I said, starting Monday, that'll be June, what is that? 17th. Yeah, we'll get to celebrate your birthday on the next episode.
Yeah, my birthday is on Father's Day this year, so that's what I reminded my kids. You got to get me
two things.
Like, we can't do this. Like, this is your Father's Day and birthday. So.
Yeah. Awesome. All right.
I'm not holding my breath on that one.
Yeah. All right, guys. Catch you next week.